Court does call the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Santre Scott.
Andrew Chilton,
Santre.
on behalf of the people.
Should say Scott.
Assistant Holden under Mr. Scott, who is approaching.
All right, buckle up, because today's courtroom drama starts at full speed. The defendant, Mr. Scott, walks into court already facing serious legal trouble, and the prosecution puts a plea deal on the table that could have reduced the charges significantly. But he turns it down. No deal. No shortcut. What follows is a high-stakes hearing filled with officer testimony, a foot chase through the streets, and evidence that doesn't quite line up the way you'd expect. From the very beginning, every decision matters. Stay locked in, because this case will have you questioning what really counts as proof inside a courtroom.
United States daytime second preliminary examination. The people are prepared to proceed. I will put on the record that I had conveyed an offer prior to the examination that if the defendant were to waive on count or waive as charged, the people would offer a plea to count 1 and dismiss 2 and 3, as well as not file a habitual 4th. In this case, it's my understanding the defendant does not wish to avail himself of that offer.
Is that a correct statement, counsel?
It is correct, Your Honor.
All right, very good.
The people expect to call 3 YPD officers. I'm going to have Officer Pimel come up first, and I'll have the other 2 officers excuse themselves, which will be Officer Lundy and Officer Cheese.
Okay, very good. Sir, please come forward and be sworn.
Please take a seat, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the further testimony about the truth, knowledge, and none of the truth, so we got?
Yes, sir.
See, state and spell your first and last name for the record, please.
First name, last name?
Yes.
First name is Zachary, spelled Zachary. Last name is Plymal, spelled Plymal.
All right, you may inquire.
Thank you. Officer Plimel, how are you currently employed?
Currently a police officer for the city.
How long have you worked for the City of Ypsilanti Police Department?
Since mid-September, so going on 6 months.
Thank you. Were you working as an officer with the City of Ypsilanti back on January the 23rd of this year, 2025?
Yes, sir.
And were you dispatched in the vicinity of the Ypsilanti Transit Center on Pearl Street in the City of Ypsilanti?
Yes, sir.
What was the nature of that dispatch?
Disorderly conduct complaint.
And do you know who had made that complaint?
One of the security guards at the transit center. I'm not sure if you know.
Okay. And based on that information, what did you do?
The security guards informed us that
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, people are not offering this for the truth and matter asserted, but only to explain what actions this officer took.
Your response to that?
I don't think it's responsive to the question, and I would also say that if it's not offered for the
It's
truth.
being offered for his state of mind, in essence, as to why he did what he did. Objections overruled. You may proceed.
Thank you.
security guards were complaining of a disorderly person in the transit center refusing to leave. And when he finally did leave, there was a handgun in his waistband, which is why they called the police. After they showed us a picture of the person that they believed had a handgun, and they stated that he was going southbound on Washington, so he spread out, and that's why they left the transit.
You're using the term "we." Who is "we"?
Me, Officer Plymouth, Officer Lundy was on scene, and our Sergeant Schrammick were on scene at this time.
Okay. So you received this information from the security guard at the transit center. They indicated this individual had proceeded, I think you said southbound.
Southbound on Washington Street.
Okay. And where did you go then?
We split up, and I went southbound on Washington Street with my patrol guard.
Okay. And you had seen a photograph of the individual that was, I guess, the suspect or the person of interest?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. You headed southbound in Washington. What, if anything, did you observe?
I observed a subject walking northbound on Washington Street that matched the description of the person in the photo.
And what did you do?
I put my car in park and I'd call on the radio with my location, and then I was gonna be making contact with the subject, or he took off on went through the app.
So he took off on foot? Prior to him taking off on foot, had you got out of your car or yelled, "Stop, police," or done anything at all?
No, sir, he was already running before I even got out there.
Okay, so you're southbound on Washington. What direction of travel is he now heading?
He's heading westbound through the alleyway there.
Through the alleyway? Okay. And Washington and approximately cross street, what are we?
Michigan.
Michigan?
Just north of Michigan.
The observations that you made that this individual was heading into the alleyway, what did you do with that information?
I called over the radio that I had a potential subject running westbound through the alleyway. I wasn't able to locate him as I had lost him, but I said he's approximately heading northwest. If you go there to the center, you might be able to see him.
Okay. And where did you head next?
Since I didn't have eyes on him on foot, I returned to my patrol car that was parked on Washington Street.
Okay. And where did you travel next?
Officer Lundy at this time went over the radio saying that he had apprehended him at Speedy's Big Burgers right on, I think it's 15 North Avenue Street. And that's where I met up with them.
Okay. And you circled around and made contact with Officer Lundy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At the time you made contact with Officer Lundy, did they have an individual in custody?
Yes, sir.
Do you see that individual in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
Can you identify an article of clothing that he's wearing in court here today?
Jones,
And may the record reflect in court identification of the defendant?
And without objection, the records also reflect.
And the individual that Officer Lundy had in custody, was that the same individual that you saw flee through the alley?
yes, sir.
Thank you. Were you involved at all in the search of his person or anything of that nature?
I did a secondary search when he was moved from patrol car 106 to my car, which is patrol car 109.
Okay,
And I didn't find any additional contraband and obviously,
thank you. People have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Is it okay if we refer to the individual as Mr. Scott? Okay. So did you observe Mr. Scott commit any crimes that day?
fleeing and eluding as he ran from me.
Fleeing and eluding? So what type of vehicle was he driving?
He was not,
Okay, but he was fleeing and eluding?
he was fleeing on foot.
Okay. Did you? He's fleeing it. Okay, so that would be more like an R and O. Okay. Did you see him commit any other crimes?
He had possession of a firearm.
He had possession of a firearm? And when did you see him in possession of a firearm?
He was caught on video through the transfer, possession of a firearm. And when Officer Lundy did his initial search after getting him in custody, we found a holster with an officer cheese found this kind of firearm.
And when did you see this video?
The transit center provided us a picture of him when we first got to the transit center. He initially arrived on the call.
And that's the picture in your police report? Okay, and you'd agree with me, there's no firearm visible in that picture, is there?
I disagree. There's a firearm on this.
May I approach the witness with what may become defense exhibit 1?
Sure, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with the computer unless we're tagging the whole thing, but go ahead.
Is this the picture we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
And where's the dog?
Right there. Left side.
This thing. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Not a liquor bottle?
That's not like the liquor bottle is found in his pants. That's in his waistband.
Okay, so this right here looks like a gun to you.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor,
Want that marked?
I move to admit this as defense exhibit 1.
Well, I need the picture. I need the photo. Well, yeah, I know. I saw it when I was up here.
Can I print it out between witnesses and provide it to the court?
Sure.
So based on that picture, you believed my client was in possession of a gun?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you say that when he was arrested, he also had liquor bottles on him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, and that's admitted as defense 1?
Well, I don't have it yet, but there's not going to be an objection if that's what it is.
No,
All right.
Photograph is.
Once I have the photograph, then I'll admit it.
Okay. I'll provide that to the court. Thank you. No further questions.
I know where you're at.
No redirect? Thank you, sir. You guys stay.
People call Officer Lundy.
Sir, please come forward and be sworn.
You can take it. Don't read from it.
We take a seat, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes. Have a seat. State, spell your first and last name for the record.
Lundy, last name Lundy, Lundy.
And Clark.
Thank you. Sir, how are you currently employed?
Police officer, Charlie,
How long have you worked with the Ypsilanti Police Department? Were you working back on January the 23rd of this year, 2025?
Yes,
And were you also involved in a dispatch to the transit center regarding a disorderly person possibly with a firearm?
yes.
Okay, and where did you go based on that information?
Well, I went to the transit center first, and then we left. Officer Pimel was there, and then walking Washington Street in Michigan. He didn't mind to get around through towards the transit center. So I drove my patrol vehicle to Adams Street, got in my patrol vehicle, walked eastbound, I observed, Savion Trade. Walking.
You observed, I'm sorry, what was that?
He was walking with, parking lot.
Okay, in the area that you observed this person, you've identified as Savion Trey. Is that individual in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Can you tell me what he's wearing?
Green North Face jacket or Nike jacket.
Your Honor, may the record reflect in court identification of the defendant?
Without objection, the record shall so reflect.
The location that you observed the defendant, was that consistent with the information that had been provided to you by Officer Plymale?
Yes.
Okay. Based on your observations of the defendant walking through the parking lot, what did you do next?
I told him to stop walking, I kind of placed him in handcuffs.
You placed him in handcuffs?
Yes.
Okay. And did you conduct any sort of search of the defendant's person?
Yes.
And where did that occur?
Right in the parking lot of Speedies.
Okay. What, if anything, did you find?
2 bottles of alcohol and a firearm holster.
Firearm holster? Where was the firearm holster?
It was, I believe, on his right hip.
Okay.
Yeah, right hip.
Fair to say you didn't find an actual firearm on his person, however.
Correct.
Okay. Based on that information, are you relaying any of this to other Ypsilanti Police Department officers?
Yes.
Okay. Which officers, if you know?
I just let dispatch know around the holster.
Okay. Can you describe, Officer Lundy, what were the conditions on this day?
No, it was snow.
Snowy? Okay. And were you aware if there were, was there enough snow that you're leaving footprints, or is it dusting? Can you describe it in any way?
I honestly don't even remember.
Okay, that's fair. Did other officers make contact with you once you had the defendant in custody?
Officer Pimel did.
Okay. Did you have any contact with Officer Cheese or was that subsequent to this?
No, I heard him say that he caught the firearm, and I just told him to take pictures of it before he picked it up.
Okay. So you heard that on the radio?
Yes.
Did you actually see where he found that firearm?
No.
Okay. I have no further questions, Judge. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning, officer. You said you found the holster on which side of him?
Let's say it was this right side. I believe.
Okay. And was that inside the pants holster, outside the pants holster, something else?
I want to say it was like on his belt, kind of like outside-ish, but I'm not really sure. I just thought it was on his person. I don't know if it was like an inside over. So I just checked the holster.
You were able to observe my client before making contact, right?
Correct.
Did you see the holster before you made contact?
No.
Was it fair to say that it was obscured by his overcoat?
Correct.
And it's just like a winter coat, right?
I'm not sure what kind of coat it was. I just like a vest, probably.
Well, all right. So you don't remember if the holster was on the right or left side? Was that not important to you?
It was clear. I think his testimony was he believes it was on the right.
Okay. And he is wearing a winter coat that covered his waistband area when you arrested him, right?
That's where coat. That's where coat.
Okay. Did you see any guns sticking out of his coat pockets or anything like that? You never saw my client possessing a gun, did you? Okay. What type of liquor bottles did he have in his possession?
It was like 2 tequila bottles.
Like a full-size fifth or a pint? All right. Can I approach the witness?
Man,
I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as defense number 1. You recognize this person in that
Defense
picture?
it's defense exhibit A.
Hey, okay.
Person, I recognize the outfit. Sorry? I recognize the outfit, not the person.
It's not the person?
It looks like he has a mask on.
Okay, so you don't recognize this person whatsoever?
Like I said, I recognize the outfit, the clothing on him, but the face is kind of, I don't know, that's not a clear picture.
Does the clothing match the person you arrested that day?
Yes.
And can you point out to us here where you believe the holster would have been?
Right here.
Okay, can you put a X and put your initials? Thank you. And are you able to tell what this would be on his left side pocket?
Doesn't have a,
Thank you. I don't have any further questions for this witness.
No redirect.
May step down. Thank you, sir. Recall your next witness.
Officer Cheese.
Sir, please come forward and be sworn.
See, raise your right hand. Solemnly swear to confirm the testimony you're about to give, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Have a seat. State, spell your first and last name for the record.
James, James, Cheese, Cheese.
All right, you may inquire.
Sir, how are you currently employed? How are you currently employed?
with the city of Ypsilanti as a police officer.
How long have you worked as a police officer with the city of Ypsilanti?
A little over a year now.
Okay. Were you working back on January the 23rd of this year, 2025?
Yes, sir.
And were you involved in a dispatch to the transit center on Pearl Street in the city of Ypsilanti for a report of a disorderly person, possibly with a firearm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where did you go when you received that dispatch?
I came down north and parked my vehicle between the dry cleaner on the corner there, so just across the street from the transit center.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you observe when you?
The defense pushes back hard, dismantling the case charge by charge. Count 1, they argue there's no concealed weapon because what officers described appears to be a liquor bottle, not a firearm. Count 2, possession is never directly established. Count 3, there's no ammunition, no magazine, no physical link. The defense leans into a core legal principle. Circumstantial evidence has limits, and hearsay can't fill the gaps. The judge makes her position clear. These arguments are meant for trial, not for this preliminary hearing. This is courtroom chess. The defense is laying groundwork for doubt, while the prosecution relies on officer observations and reconstructed events. So who's ahead at this stage?
Parked your vehicle.
Pardon?
Did you observe anything when you parked your vehicle initially?
Other than my counterparts in the parking lot, I received radio traffic from our sergeant that he observed the suspect running through the buildings in which my vehicle was parked.
Okay.
And possibly discarded a firearm.
So you were aware, based on the dispatch traffic from your other officers, that the defendant had gone through it like an alleyway? Is that fair to say?
Through the buildings.
Okay. Based on that information, what did you do?
I was going to look for a possible discarded firearm.
Okay. And is that what you actually did?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where did you go in looking for this firearm?
I went back to my vehicle to, start looking from there. And when I came toward the parking lot and looked down to my left, between the, I believe the address is 213 Borough and the guardrail right behind that building, I saw a white in color pistol.
A white in color pistol?
Yes.
Do you know what the make of this pistol was?
Once I was able to recover it, it was a Glock 19.
Okay. But it was like painted white? Or did it come like, was it like, you don't normally see white guns. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you describe, like, was this modified or did it just come that way?
I am not an expert in that, so.
Okay, fair. Why did you look in this area for the gun?
Like I said, from the sergeant's information, that was the direction in which he observed the suspect.
Okay. Could you describe what the weather was like on this day?
It was cloudy, but there was snow on the ground.
Okay. Was there anything in and around where you located this Glock in the snow that would indicate anyone had walked by or anything like that?
Yes, I did notice, like, because I had never walked past the firearm until, like I said, it was pointed out which the direction that the suspect had possibly ran. But there was a fresh set of footprints, and there was only one set of footprints going through the snow area.
Okay. And was there anything that would make you believe that this Glock had been in that area for some period of time?
No.
Okay. Was there anything covering it, on top of it, anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. And I'm trying to get the location just so the record is clear. So you come down Adams and so you're referencing the dry cleaner at the corner of Pearl and Adams. It's like Trojan Dry Cleaners. Okay. Where in relation to that did you locate the firearm?
I don't know how exactly to to pinpoint it, so if we are facing in the southern direction.
Okay.
So I think here, there's a big gap in between.
Yep.
The other building,
Okay.
13th row.
Yep.
Right behind, in between the vacant space area, behind that building, there's a guardrail, and right behind the 213th row was the firearm between the guardrail and that building.
So immediately behind 213 Pearl is an open parking lot. Does that sound correct?
There's a guardrail and then the park.
Okay. And the area this is was consistent with the information you have been provided with the path of travel of the suspect.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where was the suspect? Were you aware that the suspect at some point had been apprehended by Officer Lundy?
I was under the impression that he was in custody.
Okay. And do you know where Officer Lundy had contact with him?
No, sir.
Okay, fair. I have no further questions, Judge. Thank you.
All right.
Good morning, officer. Can you tell us how many sets of footprints were in this area?
In which area, sir?
Sorry?
In which area?
In the area that you're describing where you found the gun.
There's a, like I said, there's a broad area that are you saying is that right next to the firearm or in the area that I was standing?
In the area you're searching.
In the area that I was searching.
Yeah.
There were other footprints, including my own, but there were no footprints other than the one set of footprints next to the firearm.
Okay. And when did it stop snowing?
I could not be able to tell you that, sir.
Okay, so you don't know if these footprints were made the day before, do you? Is that a no?
There was one set of footprints directly next to the firearm.
Right, but you don't know when those footprints were made. Is that fair to say?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that, sir.
Okay, and would you also not be able to tell us when the firearm was left there?
To say that an officer observed an individual go through the area,
Well, did you observe a person with a gun?
I did not.
Okay, I just want to talk about what you saw.
I only observed the firearm. The one set of footprints in that area.
And you didn't observe anyone put the firearm there, did you?
That's not my place to say. Only that I located that firearm, sir.
Okay, but do you understand my question?
I do not, sir.
Okay, did you see with your own eyes that firearm placed in that location?
I did not.
Okay. And did you at any time see my client in possession of a firearm?
Are you asking?
I'm asking, did you see with your own eyes this person right here possessing a firearm?
No, sir.
Okay. No further questions.
Any redirect?
No, redirect. Thank you.
All right, you may step down. Thank you, sir. And I have Exhibit A.
Defense has no witnesses.
I didn't address, I was just pointing. Specific.
Any other additional witnesses for the group?
The only thing that people would put on the record, I don't expect that there is an objection. The defendant has a prior conviction for home invasion, third degree out of the 22nd Circuit Court on August the 7th of 2019. He pled guilty. And with that, other than that, unless there's an objection and the defendant doesn't have that prior felony conviction, people would have no further witness.
I think they need a certified copy of that.
Okay, all right, okay, no, that's fine. You want a certified copy? We can, where was the conviction?
22nd Circuit Court.
So we'll have a certified copy here in minutes, counsel, if we want to play that game. That's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that.
We'll
No,
withdraw the
let's not. And while we wait, and I need you to get a copy off of, I need a certified copy of his conviction from Odyssey. We'll get it.
Can I withdraw the objection, Your Honor?
Pardon?
Can I withdraw the objection?
Well, then what? Because you realize you're wasting the time of the court?
I would say in good faith, Your Honor, that works in a lot of courts in southeastern Michigan.
Well, welcome to Washington. What do you want to do? I mean, I will get a certified copy. If that will satisfy you that there was a previous conviction, I will get the copy.
No, I will withdraw it because I know that you can do that. I'm just saying in certain courts, they have to have it here right now. And I understand that's not going to work with Your Honor. So
Oh, it's not. It never has.
I did not know that though.
Yeah,
So
well,
I mean,
now we all
I'm
know
not trying to.
Every day is something to learn something.
Yes,
Now you know
exactly.
that. So are you withdrawing the objection?
I am withdrawing
Do
the
you
objection.
stipulate to the conviction?
I will stipulate to the.
Wonderful. All right.
No further witnesses, the people would rest.
The only thing I'm going to ask before I ask for argument on bind over, and we don't need to do it, is where's the one that the officer drew on? You asked the officer to mark something,
Oh, yes.
and I think it was defendant's exhibit A,
Yes.
but this doesn't appear to have a marking.
Can I approach the bench? I think I can see it. Barely see it. I get that it's hard to see, but.
I see. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. You've heard testimony from three separate Richland Police Department Officer Pimel, who testified first, received information about a disorderly person possibly with a gun at the transit center. He was in the vicinity of Washington and Pearl Street, observed an individual, I believe he testified heading southbound on Washington, in that area, consistent with the description given to him by the transit center. And he testified that he had seen that photograph. In an attempt to stop that individual, they then fled kind of back northwest through this parking lot back in the vicinity of the transit center. Officer Lundy testified that he had subsequently apprehended defendant who identified backup Washington. It's a little confusing, but kind of back up towards the transit center. When he arrested the defendant, Officer Lundy testified that he recovered a holster to a firearm, but no firearm on the defendant's person. And finally, you heard from Officer Cheese, who testified that in the area just south of Pearl Street, and it would be just east of Adams. So you have Pearl Street, Washington, Adams, and kind of a block there. Behind, just south of Pearl Street, behind 213 Pearl Street, in there, he found a white Glock 19 that had appeared to have there was nothing to indicate that gun had been there for any prolonged period of time, with a single set of footprints in the area in the snow. Obviously, this is a circumstantial case. There's no single witness that observed the defendant in possession of the firearm. But I believe that based on the testimony of the three witnesses, there's sufficient evidence to a probable cause standard to establish the defendant was in possession of this firearm at the time, and prior conviction for home invasion, it would be uneligible to possess that. People would find the defendant over on the three counts.
Response.
Your Honor, the defense objects to the bind over on all three counts. As to count one, no testified the gun was ever concealed. The testimony was that from the first witness was that the thing that's a liquor bottle, as identified by the second witness, was a gun. And you can tell by looking at the picture, it's a liquor bottle, it's not a gun. And if it was a gun, it wouldn't be concealed. So the only witness to ever say anything about my client with a gun said he could see it, and that would negate the concealed element of that charge. So we'd ask the court to dismiss that. Count two, firearms possession. This is simply possession. We stipulated to the prior. Your Honor, there's no evidence that he possessed a gun. The first witness said you can see it in the picture. The defense absolutely objects to that, and the second witness agreed with the defense position. You can't see a gun because there is no gun. And then there was perhaps a bit of hearsay, but the court, of course, heard Mr. Childers say it wasn't offered for the truth of the matter, so the court should not use that for the truth of the matter. Cannot be used as substantive evidence against my client. So there's absolutely no evidence that he ever possessed a firearm. Count three, no one even mentioned ammunition.
But aren't those questions of fact as to whether or not, given all of the testimony as to whether or not he possessed it?
I don't think it's a question of fact. They didn't even say it. I mean,
They didn't even say what.
the testimony that he had possession of the gun was that in the picture, you can see the gun, and that witness identified what is obviously a liquor bottle.
No, go ahead.
That was the testimony from the first witness. He said, he repeated hearsay, and it was offered not for the truth of the matter asserted.
I know, it was I heard the objection.
Okay, so he ran up, the evidence is they're called for a disorderly person. He runs away. He's in possession of liquor. He's running because he has open containers of liquor. They're going to say he's running for whatever other reason. They arrest the person with a holster. They don't have fingerprints. They don't have DNA. They don't have surveillance video. They don't have a witness that credibly says he had a gun. That people's first witness said you can see the gun in his pocket, and he's talking about the liquor bottle. So, Your Honor, there's simply no evidence that
The officer's state of mind based upon the call is that there's an individual, and that individual has a weapon, has a firearm, right? They find the individual as described. His path is traced. On his person, there is a holster, and upon his path being traced, there's a Glock 19. Tell me why that doesn't create issues of fact as to all three counts.
because the call is not admissible to prove the truth of the matter. They can use that call to show the officer's actions, okay? And the officers took actions that were reasonable based on the information they received, but the people admitted that call, not for the truth of the matter asserted, but for the effect on the
Take
listener.
that out, right? They get this call,
Yes.
right? The truth of the matter as to whether or not he had a gun, I can't accept. But the very fact of everything that happens afterwards, doesn't that create an issue of fact as to whether or not he had the gun on his person and it was concealed?
No,
Okay.
I mean, they didn't have.
I don't know what, I don't even know how you get there, counsel. I just don't. But okay, you answered my question.
Okay, well, I'd still ask the court to dismiss count because there's no testimony of any ammunition. And I mean, the count one, if the court is relying on this testimony, the gun wasn't concealed because they said they saw it. They said they saw the gun, which means it's not concealed. So I understand the court's position on count two.
No, you really don't. But go ahead.
Well, I'm attempting to understand the court's position on count two, that he was in possession, but the whole way that they get to count two is people seeing it, which means there's no count one. And not a single person mentioned ammunition, which is count three.
Any response from the
No,
The court in listening to all of the testimony, and granted, it is indeed a circumstantial case. The testimony, and counsel seems a bit confused because I'm not taking it as substantive testimony that he had that gun. It was what the officers did afterwards. There's a clear dividing line on that. And if you do the analysis, then it's what the officers do afterwards that leads to what happens. And so when that occurs, they're investigating this person. This person is fleeing from them, or at least resisting the officer's attempt to stop him. He travels a certain path. They travel, ultimately, they search that same path. There is a weapon found. There's a holster on him. As to whether or not it was ultimately concealed, it's a question of fact. As to whether or not he was in possession of it, counsel, you make great arguments, but they're arguments for trial. They're not arguments for this type of proceeding. And I think that there's sufficient evidence, certainly to bind the defendant over on counts 1 and 2. I would agree with defense that there is not sufficient evidence as to the ammunition because there was no testimony. So defendant is bound over to stand trial on counts 1 and 2. As to we've got to deal with your community corrections, but before we do the circuit court arraignment, have you seen his progress report?
I have, and I have discussed it with my client, Your Honor.
And Mr. Allen?
Well, our position would be that he did have a card. It's now expired. He's in the process of renewing the card. I would also state, I think.
Well, but hold it. They asked him.
Well,
let's get this.
If
Pardon?
using prior to being placed on bond with those conditions. So we would ask the court for an opportunity for him to present a renewed card to the circuit court. I would also indicate this case doesn't involve marijuana. Marijuana is now legal, so certainly the court has the discretion to impose that bond condition. But given, this isn't a marijuana.
What is his bond condition?
I believe it's no marijuana.
Thank you.
Right. So, Your Honor, we'd ask for the opportunity for him to renew his card, which he is in the process of doing.
He was supposed to take another test and he missed his test.
I looked at that and does it look like there's no date? It was unclear to me what was missed.
Did he take his last test?
Last test. It says no.
Yeah, he missed it.
Can he speak on only the issue of the testing? Don't say anything about the case.
So the lady that in community correction, she told me if I didn't have the money, I didn't have the money to text her and I text her. I got the trailer with this stuff. Called her. I told her I can't make it today. I don't got the money. She whenever she said I called, I hit one time and I didn't have money to go to that trial. She told me to stay home and so I let her know. So that's what I was.
He doesn't have a current card.
He had a card. It's expired in 2020.
I know he had a card, but he doesn't have a current card. Correct?
Right.
They advised him that he was instructed not to use and continue any use, correct?
Your Honor, I would just indicate, I don't think those.
Want to answer my question first or no? They told him not to use in February, right? Until he got a card.
Right.
And he's not presented.
I don't dispute that. I would say, Your Honor, he asked for 30 days for his system to clear out. It's not clear that these tests indicate use while on bond. I mean, this offense date is January 23rd, so I think he's, placed on bond October 24th. I don't see any failed tests within 30 days.
Really want me to get levels?
We would just ask the court to.
Really want me to get levels?
Well, I think I made my arguments, so.
So I'll take that as a no.
Correct.
Now, before I deal with the ultimate issue of bond on this, you waive formal reading of the complaint of the information.
Yes, and stand mute.
Defendant waives formal reading standing mute. Counts 1 and 2, court will enter a not guilty plea. Pretrial will be set for
April 24th at 1:30 before Judge Slay.
April 24th, 2025, 1:30 before Judge Slay. Defendant needs to follow the conditions of his bond. He's not supposed to be using. I know why you don't want that. So at this time, I'm going to revoke the defendant's bond. Defendant remanded.
Cross off count 3 on the information and sign it. I will also prepare.
Here's how it ends for now. The judge binds the defendant over on counts 1 and 2, possession and concealed carry. But the ammunition charge doesn't survive, dismissed for lack of evidence. This case is a textbook example of how circumstantial evidence can still carry weight when supported by officer testimony and scene reconstruction, even without direct eyewitness confirmation. It also shows how thin the line can be between reasonable inference and assumption. If this case made you think twice about how probable cause is built, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more in-depth courtroom breakdowns you won't see anywhere else.